Hi, I'm Stu Mitchell, and welcome to Watershed Talks. Well, today I want to talk about some things that's been on my heart, on my mind. I was in operations, manufacturing operations for 31 years in different roles. And over that period of time, you pick up a lot of things, you talk to a lot of people, and then as you kind of become, I became a leader over the years. So, you start to think about little different things that you hear and the way that you can apply it, that it might mean something to people that you're talking to. And, I'm sure certain things that I say, certain ways that I say it might be a little bit different, but it's probably something that's been said before, right? That you've heard before. And, there's really probably nothing that you could say that someone hasn't said before. So there's really nothing new. But sometimes it's just the way you present it, the way you put it that means something to someone. So I was thinking about assumption and perception and experience, and what I was really making the analogy of is that meant something to me was assumption is like a blunt object. Okay, you don't have a lot of information, and it's not very accurate. It's like this big blunt heavy object. And perception, you have a little bit more information, and you really feel like you know something about it, and it means something to you. So perception is like a sharp knife, but experience is like a razor sharp scalpel in the hands of a skilled surgeon. So think about this. By the time you get that experience and you're ready to actually do some good and to help someone, has the patient already died of blunt force trauma and blood loss? Think about that. So I want to talk about that a little bit today, because there's a lot of things that you hear out there, whether it's on, current events, or just things that when you're talking to people. And a lot of people talk, especially if you watch some of the news shows and it has all of these, experts on there, they talk with hindsight. And, there's a lot of high IQ hindsight geniuses out there. And, if you could take the IQ test with the answers, everybody would be a genius. And, but they call that cheating, right? You're cheating when you have the answers. And then there's not enough foresight geniuses out there, people that can actually look at history, look at the situation, look at the information that's around them, and make a great decision based off of all those things that can actually yield good results for the present and the future. Lots of hindsight geniuses, a lot of foresight idiots out there. And, so make sure, when you're listening to people and they're speaking like so eloquently and like they're an expert, but they're speaking about things that have already happened, understand that that's not too hard to do, right? It's pretty easy to speak about those things. It takes someone with vision and courage to go out there and say, this is what we need to do moving forward to make it better. Okay. And that could be in your own life. That could be, on the world stage. It could be with current events. So I'm not limiting that to any one of those things, but it is true that someone who has that foresight and knowledge and, courage and able to pull in all the information, all the facts, can make great decisions. There are people that maybe you want to listen to and surround yourself with. So, you know, so I've been thinking a lot about that, and I've been thinking a lot about being in. These are kind of, what I went back to my notes. I actually have a file on my computer that I made a long time ago that just says random thoughts of a crazy man. Have a little bit of fun with it, where I just go in there and type out a whole bunch of thoughts that would pop into my head. A lot of them are just sentences. Some of them are, short essays, but just certain things that popped in my head that I wanted to capture, that I wanted to remember. So if it's a little disjointed, that's because we'll call this random thoughts of a crazy man, I guess. But I'm not really crazy. I am a man, but I do have a lot of random thoughts that I do believe if you listen to them and you listen to some of the experience that I had with them, which I'm going to share some stories, uh, maybe it'll make a difference. And, if you're in a tough situation, and that's what I want to talk about right now, there is hope. And here's why. I think when I've been in tough situations, bad situations, terrible situations maybe that were of my own making, that, I screwed up big time. Uh, and one thing I always knew and tried hard to do was if I could end it on a positive note. Now, you've all heard that, right? But really think about that. Think about, let's use a job for an example. Let's say you have a job that uh, maybe you didn't care for too much, or maybe you kind of screwed up and you didn't do your best, or you didn't really apply yourself, and the whole thing's going south, and you're going to get ready to leave that job. All right. Do everything you can to end on a positive note. Do everything you can to make sure you give the appropriate length of notice. Do everything you can to make sure that you give a full 8.5, whatever your hours are, every day up until the point you leave. Do everything you can to be kind to the people that are there, and to be honest with them. Because many times the way we end our current situation, even if the whole thing was a train wreck, we kind of end that situation on a positive note. And that is either our springboard for the next situation we get into, or if we end it really negatively and on a terrible note, that's the quicksand that we're trying to get ourselves out of to start our next situation. So always do your best, no matter what it is. If it's a relationship, not every relationship works out great, right? Uh, we all know that. But do your best to end it on a positive note, even if it's going to end. Be cordial, be nice. Think about the things that you would want that person saying about you, and say those nice things about them. That is the golden rule, which is in the Bible, to do to others, as you'd want them to do to you. So, there's a lot of just practical advice in the Bible and practical things that, I occasionally say. And the reason why, some of the things are easy and practical is because not everybody can grasp these secret hidden meanings. Some people like me just need something that's very obvious and very easy to do. Golden rule's one of them. But always try to end on a positive note, because that's the way you're going to start your next situation. So I want to give kind of a personal experience on that, and it's I guess it's a little self-serving. It's a story about me, but most of my experiences are about me, so I'm not sure how else to do it. So I used to compete in different contests, different, powerlifting, strongman contests, things of that nature. And there's one in particular contest I competed in, that I went in. First time I competed, and I won. It was close. I had a lot of friends there. It was very exciting. And I was kind of at the beginning of my career, and I won it a couple of years in a row. And then all of a sudden I went back the next year, and I was overconfident. I definitely did not train right, and a few other things happened. And it was a type of contest. It was a 2-day contest, and you needed to finish in the top 10 spots the first day to make the second day. And I had a terrible first day, and I really disappointed myself. I didn't push myself the way I knew I could have, and I failed. I did not make the second day. And I remember after winning it twice and people thinking I was going to win it again, a lot of friends there that just were like, Stu, what's going on? What happened? Family there. I was crushed. I was like, and it was an ego thing back then too. It was like, it's a strongman contest. You're a young guy, you're big, you're strong. And all of a sudden you're not even in the top 10. And I was just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that I couldn't even finish in the top 10 to compete in the second day. And I was literally crushed. It was about an hour away. And, my first thoughts were, let me get home, clean up, take a shower, lick my wounds. I have the rest of the weekend, because that was a Saturday, was the first day, so I'd have Sunday, and I could go back to work on Monday and kind of, start over again. And I sat there, I went home, and I was thinking about it, and you know what? I decided that's not the right thing to do. That's not ending on a positive note. So my oldest son was small at the time, so I got him ready, and I drove back down the second day. I went there. I cheered on the fellow competitors that were there, people that I knew from the gym that I was at, people that I had met over the years. And, I even went out there and I pulled some guys aside when they were ready to quit, and I gave them encouraging pep talks and stuff like that. And it was hard for me to do. It was very hard for me to do. It was great spending time with my son and kind of talking to him and showing him off to all my friends. But it was so difficult knowing that, even watching people knowing that, hey, I could be doing that. I could be stronger. But I forced myself to end on a positive note. And that really lit a fire inside of me when it came to competing, these types of strongman contests, powerlifting contests, some bench press contests. And I had made a decision right then and there that no matter what, my training and my intensity and my effort in every contest was never going to be the reason I lost again. And you know what? From that point on, I had never lost another contest. And I competed in quite a few contests, some big contests with a lot of people. I had gone into prisons and had bench press contests against prisoners, powerlifting contests, other strongman contests. And I don't say that because, and a lot of those contests, looking back at it, are ego, right? You're a young guy, you're strong, it feeds your ego. And there's a lot of camaraderie and other good things about it too. But I tell you this story because if you're in a bad situation, end it on a positive note and let that drive you to be successful in your next endeavor and then moving forward. Believe me, you won't regret it. And, sometimes it's very practical, the advice that you get. And when you get that advice, and, I've had people give me such good practical advice over the years, it's amazing. Like you hear it, then all of a sudden you try it and you're like, hey, this works. And then you start thinking, why the heck didn't I listen and try this all along? So, I would encourage you that, if you're in some bad situations, why not try it a little differently, right? Put in that effort. God's the same way. He wants us to put in an effort, and then he comes and meets us and he multiplies that effort and just helps us along. But he expects us to put in an effort too, right? He doesn't just expect us to say one prayer, ask for whatever we're asking for, forget about it, and then just sit there waiting for it to happen. No, take steps, do something, end on a positive note. Take a bad situation and show people that you're stronger than that and that you're better than that. I promise you, you won't regret it. Thank you, and God bless you.